Magic is what happens when you find balance between method and madness, science and art. Welcome to the Magic Maker Podcast, the place where entrepreneurs who want to find magic can access aha moments and simple steps to big dreams. I'm your host, JNicholeSmith, but you can call me Nick. Let's get started, shall we? Hello, my friend. Today, we are talking about the beginning of what makes a magic maker a magic maker. We're talking about the one thing that you'll need to do in order to build a brand that matters, that you can't get away without. This is a topic that I think is really difficult because it's a little bit vague. And it's a little bit hard for some of us to wrap our heads around if we've been in the corporate world or we've learned how to build a business from business school, or if we're used to the idea that a brand is something a business does as a marketing tactic. Because that's not what I'm all about. I am all about looking at human beings who are entrepreneurs and helping them build brands that they are well suited to do well. Brands that not only will help them have financial and physical, mental and emotional freedom, but are also rooted in the things they love, so they will absolutely enjoy marketing, and that are aligned with causes that we care about. So in the midst of getting all this freedom and fulfillment for ourselves, we are also helping drive the causes forward that we care about and making the change in the world that we really, really want to see. We're not sitting back and waiting for other people to do it. We're doing it ourselves. But all of this stuff requires deep work on the part of the entrepreneur to find their core, to find what makes them special so that they can begin to communicate it and build a brand around it. It's not quick work, but it's essential. And today we are talking about how to get started. So let's go ahead and make some magic, shall we? One of my favorite books, and probably one of yours too, if you've read it, is Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert. If you haven't read it, move that to the top of your reading list right this second. Nearly every page of Big Magic is totally quotable. But one of my favorite bits is this. Do whatever brings you to life. Follow your own fascinations, obsessions, and compulsions. Trust them. Create whatever causes a revolution in your heart. The rest will take care of itself. Elizabeth is talking about creativity here, but this is sort of how I think about our lives as brand builders. We don't have to be limited by the unoriginal thinking and boring, confining structures that normal people get stuck in. We get to trust and follow our fascinations. And we get to take people with us. I believe building a brand and a tribe instead of just a business is where that whole the rest will take care of itself bit actually becomes true as well. But reading the profoundly impactful book Big Magic was not the first time this author touched my life in a profound way. The first time was actually 35,000 feet in the air when, while strapped into a long-haul Icelandic air flight from Seattle to London, I made the fateful decision to watch a film everyone had been raving about, but I'd missed in the theater, Eat, Pray, Love. A bit of background was at that time, I was only a few weeks out of an awful breakup with a man I thought I wanted to spend my life with. I had broken off our engagement just a few weeks prior. And I'd done this because I had come to the awful realization that our impending marriage wasn't the right thing for either of us. I had ended it, so not only was I totally racked with guilt for what I felt like was breaking his heart, but I was also really mystified and terrified by my ability to basically have sleepwalked into that life, which, although it was perfect on paper, was really not what I wanted. So there I am in this plane bound for Iceland, optimistically diving into a romantic drama. Probably not the best idea in the throes of a breakup. And in the first few minutes of the film, Liz Gilbert's character, who is played by Julia Roberts, is clearly having trouble sleeping. She gets out of bed in the middle of the night and wanders through this moonlit hallway. She looks at like artifacts from her life with her husband, photos of them together. And her inner monologue says this: hadn't I wanted this? I had actively participated in every moment of the creation of this life. So why didn't I see myself in any of it? The only thing more impossible than staying was leaving. I didn't want to hurt anybody. I wanted to slip quietly out the back door and not stop running until I reached Greenland. Now, I wasn't on my way to Greenland, I was on my way to Iceland, but never have words of another human being so accurately described something I'd been experiencing. The tragic accuracy of these feelings, spoken by someone else, felt like they split me in half. So, in a silent plane packed full of hundreds of human beings, I started sobbing uncontrollably. If you can believe it, the release of grief and the relief of finally maybe feeling like one other human on the planet understood what it felt like to live through what I just lived through was so intense that the humiliation of other people's stares didn't even register. I don't even remember feeling embarrassed. It must have seemed so dramatic, I'm sure. But the mix of deep sadness and almost euphoric comfort of suddenly feeling like I was not alone was totally overwhelming. Feeling connected to someone else's human experience, especially deeply emotional ones, is such a powerful thing. These experiences stick with us and drive our decisions and behaviors. This is why storytelling is such a magical tool that can change us and inspire us to change the social structures we occupy. I have such vivid recollections of this memory and those words that were spoken by this character in a film. So writers like Elizabeth Gilbert wield this great power of storytelling by creating books and films that move us. As entrepreneurs, we wield this great power by building brands that matter. But not all entrepreneurs know their power. Many of them haven't found it or don't know how to use it. And saddest of all, many entrepreneurs don't believe they have it, that there's nothing unique or special about them or their story, that what they do matters to them, but aren't sure why anyone else should really care. And so often our efforts as marketers, as storytellers, as business owners seems to go totally unnoticed. So our secret fears that maybe we're unremarkable gets confirmed repeatedly. But let me tell you, my darling one, you will always find proof of what you fear if you go looking for it. You were born remarkable. The path that you've walked to stand where you're standing now is 100% unique to you. And like your thumbprint, it's yours and yours alone. But you do have a decision to make. You need to decide what kind of person you're going to be. Are you going to be like most people and let your disappointing life experiences prove that you don't matter or can't get what you want or that you can't do it? Or will you be the brave, enchanted rebel who seeks a different truth, one where your beautiful and unique story allows you to finally get noticed and change lives for the better? Are you going to settle and stay with that fiance? Or are you going to break up because you know it's the right thing to do? Sometimes the big decisions are the hardest and most painful. Building something is often about letting go. But if you want to be the rebel, a brand builder, a magic maker, then your first step is to do the deep work to find the shapes and edges of your magic. It feels a little like fumbling around in the dark at first. And building a brand based on your unique personal magic is definitely not as fast as just throwing together a business. Although I do suggest that you do that too, because you don't want to wait till you have everything figured out to get started. But I believe that brands that matter, brands created by entrepreneurs who are deeply committed to finding and sharing their unique magic and creating change, will be the force that saves this crazy, chaotic world we are living in now. So all of that is fine and good. But where do you start with all of this magic finding? Well, if you want more support, I've created a simple step-by-step course to guide you through this process at jnicholesmith.com/find-your-magic. But for now, I want to give you these basic steps to get you started. These steps may sound overly simple, but trust me, they are absolutely essential to unearthing the unique magic you will build your brand around and leverage to be that enchanted rebel who changes the world with your unique story. Here are the 4 areas to explore to begin to find your unique magic. First of all, what is the change that you want to see, or the cause, or the people that you care most about serving? Second of all, what are the unique skills, assets, resources, and perspectives you can bring to this cause or change? Third, what does freedom and fulfillment look like on a normal day in your ideal future? Most importantly, number 4, in detail, how do you want to spend your precious time? All of these steps are important to not only help you have the impact you desire most in a way that fuels you instead of bleeds you dry, and also takes you to a life that you actually want instead of one where you feel trapped or all wrong for the job you've created. Like I said, if you want more help with this, you can grab my Find Your Magic course at jnicholesmith.com/find-your-magic. There's a whole workbook and video tutorials there to help you excavate your own journey to find the bits that make you special. I would love to help you do this, but just remember, it's a process. It takes time, but it's not going to happen if you don't start. That's it for episode 5 of the Magic Maker podcast. Welcome to the headquarters of entrepreneurs who want to do good, be real, find happy, and build brands that matter. We are thrilled that you are here. If you're listening to this podcast on iTunes, Spotify, or another streaming service, you can check out the show notes and links for this episode at jnicholesmith.com/podcast. That's JNichole Smith.com/podcast. Next week, I'll be taking you on a very personal journey into one of the dark, scary places in my life, so we can talk about the one essential topic entrepreneurs need to create real and lasting change. This is possibly the most important podcast I'll ever do. We are getting super real, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss it. Of course, I would be super grateful if you'd be willing to invest a few moments of your precious time by giving a review to this podcast on iTunes so we can reach more magic makers and help them to change their lives and the world.